What's up, everybody? Sorry for the delay. Had to get some audio issues taken care of. Tonight's episode is called See the Numbers, because a lot of people are seeing the numbers. For a lot of people, the biggest number that they start to see the first time is 1111. Have you been seeing 1111? See 1111?
Yeah, definitely.
I've probably seen it
a few times, not too much.
Probably about 3-4 years ago, I started seeing 1111 myself. And then after that, probably before, I learned a little about numerology, and then I started seeing 1111. Almost forgot to record this thing. So I started seeing 1111, and I started seeing numbers, and then after learning about numerology and then like ways the universe can communicate with you, I started seeing other numbers. A lot of people see other numbers, like 111, 222, 333, 444, 555. Most people know some of the other numbers. 22, 11, 33. 33 is a master number. They even show that in Masonry and Freemasonry. Also, you have 33 vertebrae in your back. Do you know if the audio is good? Are you on Facebook? Are you playing a feed off anything? Can you hear?
No.
Won't you play one? Check it out. Won't you play one? Check it out. All right, so let's break down what numbers mean. Science has been discovering certain things about the fabric of the universe. Let's break down what numbers mean. Some other science has been always asking, where do we come from? Type questions. Discovering certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other science has been always asking, where do we come from? Type questions. Discovering certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other most basic science has been always asking, where do we come from? Type questions. Discovering certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other most basic science has been always asking, discovering certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other most basic science has been always asking, discovering certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other most basic science has been always asking, what the internet is. Certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other most basic science has been always asking, certain things about the Alright, so let's break down what numbers mean. Some other most basic science has been always asking, certain things about the Alright.
We're good.
Yeah, we should be good. You have to check. I can't open anything up that'll play, so you gotta do all that. Alright, let's try this again.
Check it on your phone.
Welcome to the show, guys. We're gonna start all over from square one. So, the name of today's show is See the Numbers, and there's a couple master numbers and frequent numbers that people have started to see. It's kind of funny. The more you see, the more you actually see of a lot of other things. And every number carries a meaning. You know, just like horoscopes and stuff like that. The alignment of planets, you know, they say that correlates with your personality and stuff. Well, numerology correlates with your personality also. From my experience of reading a numerology report and like a natal birth chart, between the two, just about tell you everything that you kind of knew and the things that you didn't know about yourself. So you guys that are kind of curious about yourself, or maybe why you think the way you do, or numerology is fun because it'll tell you like life paths. It'll tell you about karmic lessons. It'll tell you about the age you're going to be whenever you might need to learn a certain lesson, or you'll be doing a life change. Like I know one of the big changes in numerology for everybody comes between like 28 and 32. I know I've had a lot of changes probably between 28 and 32, and it's like a next phase of 3 or 4 phases that you go through in the average time span of a human life. There's a lot of free ones you can check out there that'll give you a little taste of it. Also on natal birth charts, there's a lot of free one of those that you can check out. They're pretty cool. And with just a little bit of each one of them, you learn little pieces of yourself that you already knew, or it might shine light on something that you might not have really thought about yourself. So for everybody's journey within, you know, to find source or God or enlightenment, or to find out about yourself, a numerology report and a natal birth chart, you can find one of those for free, and it'll definitely give you a lot of insight. So that's pretty cool. So numerology, we got we'll talk about the numbers that everyone's seeing. The big number that you'll find and you go to looking for will be 1111. That's the first one that most people like really notice they see. And 11 is an awesome number because it's 1 and it's double ones, and 1 represents new beginnings. It's masculine. It's like divine expression. It represents a new start. And so really to see 4 ones is immaculate. But you know, if the fabric of civilization kind of breaks down to binary code, then maybe it's binary for you to see the number, then it makes you think about something else or starts a process. Do you remember whenever you started seeing 1111, Alex?
Just saying on and off over the years. You probably see it way more than I do.
Here more recently, I seen a lot before I noticed that I seen that was the deal. And so I subconsciously seen it before I actually started seeing it. And the more I started seeing it, I got curious about like, well, what in the world does that mean? And then as I got to looking, everybody was asking, why do I keep seeing 1111? Why do I keep seeing 1111? Everybody wants to know why they keep seeing 1111. So 1111 is kind of a binary code, or just a flash to everybody. Like once you start noticing 1111, you're going to start asking questions. Just asking the question alone of why do I want to see 1111 is going to open up a gate to a whole new idea of looking at life. It's kind of like a glitch. It's going to make you see through the matrix almost. And it's kind of funny if you put two ones together, it kind of looks like a gate. So like 1111 is a gate to a new start or a new beginning, leaving old world, ending the new world. The old way no longer serves you. The old you no longer serves you. The old world, the old way of thinking, everything pre-2012, and everything that's dark that's coming to light now, that is the old releasing, and none of that serves you anymore. And so the more you start to walk the path of knowing, of trying to know the right steps to take in life to benefit humanity, to connect with your neighbors, and connect with nature, and get back to simple living. But with technology, we can go back to the simple living that made us more pure souls, and then we can use technology so that people don't really have to do that much, because that's one of the main things that's caused unemployment and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, all of our money is used to kill people, and I'm pretty sure everybody across the world, I know I am, I'm tired of us killing people and anybody killing people. And I know my whole generation stands with me and feels that way. All generations in my generation and below, all across the world, of any nationality and denomination, they all feel the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
And so just looking into 1111 alone, you're going to see that everybody across the world is seeing it. And then after they start seeing the number and they start looking into what it means, it kind of is saying, hey, reality is not what you thought it was. And then once you start questioning reality, you start questioning everything. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like falling down the rabbit hole, per se. 1111 is a first call to a mindset. It's like, ring ring, I'm an infinite being.
Yeah.
I'm a quantum being. This reality is a piece of me that I'm just being a part of right now. And the more you start to look down this rabbit hole, the more signs and proof that you start to see that everything is not quite what we thought it was. And there's a whole lot of more awesome stuff out there, and life is way more simple. And the more we start connecting with one another, and start using technology to be in harmony with nature, and stop killing Mother Earth, and which is everybody's mother. It says honor your mother and your father. Well, the earth is your mother, and the universe is your father. And so it's pretty simple, just to honor those two things.
Yeah.
And so just the simple fact of seeing one thing can open up a whole path of seeing everything.
Yep.
So just the one slippery slope of wondering why I'm seeing this makes you question reality. And then when you see what reality really is, it's beautiful, it's harmonious, and there ain't nothing to worry about. When you see 1111, it's letting know that everything is aligning in your life for the path that you need to take. You're untouchable, is basically what the universe is telling you. You're on a roller coaster and everything's going to speed up. You're not the only one that's seeing the numbers, but you're the one that only starts seeing the numbers. and seeing where the numbers take you. And then once you start noticing things like 1111, and realize that it's a way of the universe or consciousness or source or universal God, it's just trying to communicate with you. It's trying to get a message to you. And then once you look up 1111 and you start seeing 1111, you may start seeing like 111 or 222 or 333. All of these are what you call master numbers also, because all numbers have a meaning. And so a numerology report is done by your name and by your birth date. And a natal birth chart is done by your geographical location of the exact time that you were born, the position of the planets to that particular spot is your natal birth chart. And so if you're Pisces or Virgo or anything like that, that is your sun sign. That's the dominant one. And so it's a broad spectrum. So that's why a horoscope really doesn't pertain specifically to you. It's kind of like a broad idea of things in that nature that might be happening at that time. Say if you're Pisces or whatever like that, because there's all the planets affect you, and that's what a natal birth chart talks about. And it has a lot to do with your personality and your attitude. It tells you a whole lot of stuff about you. But the cool part about it is, your zodiac, your sun sign is shared with everybody. There's only 12, but your natal birth chart.
Yeah.
The only way for a natal birth chart to duplicate, for somebody to have all the same qualities because of the alignment of the planets, it would take over 4,000 years for somebody to be born in the same spot, geographical spot, at the same exact time for the planets to align, for you to have the same personality characteristics. And so, and then the thing about the numerology is, your birth date, that's a pretty big deal. And your name, they say your name is not your name for no reason. Your name was given to you. Your parents think they picked it out, but it resonated with them inside of them. When it comes down to
it's
it,
a Christian name, bro.
When your parents decided to name you, that's what resonated with them, for them to actually decide to name you that. And so your name's not just your name for no reason, just like your birthday's not your birthday for no reason. And together, they teach you a lot of stuff about you. You start seeing 111.
He said every 28 years Saturn comes back around.
Every 28 years?
Yeah.
All the planets have different orbital patterns around the sun. Some of them are longer and some of them are shorter. Mercury, I know it comes and goes a lot, so it's got a way faster orbit. I know they say when Mercury's retrograde, you shouldn't start anything new or buy any new electronics or anything like that, because you're more likely to get like a lemon. That's what they say. And so alchemy actually talks about, I don't really know anything about alchemy, but I thought I'm going to check into it. But all that stuff is based around the planets and how to use the energy from the planets to do certain things. But whenever you start seeing numbers, 111 tripled is represents a great new beginning. It's representing a path of learning and knowing, or a path for trying to seek truth about who you are. And then when you're trying to find out about who you are, you're trying to think about where you come from, or where everybody comes from. And so the more you open up to that, the more you open up to realize that we're all just in this whole big thing together. And you know, we're all just human. Nothing separates us. Colors of skin and personal beliefs have nothing to value of what a person really is, because this is nothing but like a vessel. It's no different than you driving a blue car or a black car or a green car or a yellow car. That's no different about this body right here. Doesn't matter what color car you drive. It doesn't have anything to do with the driver that's inside the car.
And Kevin, what you know about the Fibonacci sequence? He said the Fibonacci sequence.
The Fibonacci sequence?
Yeah. We seen it on that one video, man. So
it's like 3, 6, and 9. That correlates. Actually goes pretty deep. There's a lot to it. I know bits and pieces. I know there's sacred geometry. And
it's infinity.
And from the flower of life, which has a whole story behind just the beginning of the picture. It basically has a whole story of creation, just from that very image. That very image is also the pattern in which everything that you see is made with that as that pattern, down to an atom. If you break everything down to the atom, you get that pattern from this image. If you play
crazy stuff,
certain frequencies with like salt on a speaker, when you tune into these right frequencies, it shows you pieces of sacred geometry, and everything at its basic form is a vibration. Just like we were talking about on the last episode about how to vibrate higher and higher frequencies.
432 hertz. Yeah. Kevin, where you hear all this information at, man? Kevin, where you getting all your information at, man? I like this information.
But these certain frequencies actually draw a pattern, which is sacred geometry, and everything is a vibration. An atom, at its most simplest form, is a vibration. So everything we see is a sound. But I'm mad at myself that I forgot in the last episode about how to vibrate higher. I forgot my most favorite and easiest thing to vibrate higher, which is playing a good song that I like and driving down the road. That's the most simplest way to vibrate higher. You got to be way on up there, probably at peace, which is right under ultimate consciousness. And so if you know that feeling, some people in the city might not know this feeling, but I know us out here in the country, I can turn on a song that I really enjoy, and I can drive down the road and just look at the mountains and the trees and nature and everything else. There's not really any houses, there's not really any traffic, just some pastures and some cows and some trees and stuff. You can see the sky real well, and you can see the mountains for where I live if you drive just a little bit away. And that feeling, that happiness, especially like in the spring or summertime when you can roll the windows down in the vehicle and all that wind is blowing in there, and you got the radio crunk wide open, and you don't want nobody to sing you because you're just singing along with your favorite song as loud as you can. That feeling right there, you know, where shame is the lowest vibration, you're almost right there, ultimate conscious, and there ain't no shame in that game when you're driving down the road by yourself and you just feel so good, and you start singing. You don't care who sees you, driving down the road the other direction. Just you doing that right there, like that vibration is raising the vibration of so many people around. It's insanely simple. So 22 22 represents the master builder. So if you start saying 22 or 222, you're starting to move into your feelings more. You're starting to see a dual nature. If you start seeing 222, like 111 more than likely opened the gate for you to start looking at numbers. And then the universe is going to start communicating with you with these numbers. And all these numbers represent certain things. But it's really what the numbers represent to you, because you're the one seeing them. But the basic number has a broad spectrum of its meaning, like 22 or 222 is telling you see things in dual nature, like light and dark and positive and negative. It's getting you to see things for what they really are.
What's up, Bobby?
And it's going to connect you to your, it might make you think with your intuition that you're a quantum being. You have dual natures within you. You also have dual communication methods versus your intuition, or seeing numbers with the universe, or the conversation inside your head with your consciousness or your higher self, or creative force or source. And then you got 33. This is the master teacher. This is like why 33 is the highest degree in masonry. You know, you have 33 vertebrae in your back, which is your nervous system. It goes straight to your brain, which is your antenna to everything outside of this little 3D dimension that we live in now. And so that represents the Trinity, is also what 3 represents. I knew in Christianity it taught me God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost, and that was really confusing to me. Like, really, I didn't like that one too much. And then the best thing a preacher could tell me was, you know, we're not God, so we're not supposed to be able to understand it. But the Trinity is awesome. I have a tattoo on my arm, Triquetra on it, because it represents the Trinity, and the Trinity is awesome. The number 3 is awesome because it represents the master teacher, a number of illumination. 333 or 333, the universe is telling you that you're coming into alignment. It's a very powerful number. It means you're becoming balanced. You're becoming very more awake also whenever you start seeing, obviously, if you start noticing numbers and you start seeing 33 or 333, this is what the universe is trying to tell you, because you know that Source is trying to communicate with you. You know, you're walking down the path of enlightenment and just starting to know. The universe is letting you know that you're starting to know. The Trinity is awesome. It represents the past, future, the present. Represents the mind, body, the soul, the thoughts, the self, and the world. The thoughts being like your intuition, the self being your representation of yourself right now in this 3D reality, be it this car that we drive that we call a body, and the world being everything else, Mother Earth, the trees, all the animals, every person, any living thing you come in contact with, including plants and stuff like that. That's the Trinity, and we're all a part of it. And so once you start to know that and see that, you're starting to master your direction towards the path of finding out what life really means and how to connect with your inner being, to start a long journey of trying to find out who and what you are, and what to be thankful for, and how to look at life the correct way.
So spiritual healing.
Definitely. And when we start seeing number alignments, our thoughts are aligning to the repetition. As we start to change, we change the world too. As we change our thoughts, we change ourselves. As we change ourselves, we change the world. Sounds like another little Trinity representation. There is a representation to me. You know, that's why 333 is really a master number, because once you start seeing that, you start seeing a whole lot of things. And even Tesla himself correlates with the Fibonacci
Fibonacci.
It correlates with that number, which is 3, 6, and 9 that comes out of the spiral of the seed of life, which is how everything you see that grows starts to, it's the pattern it makes as it starts to grow from a seed. That's why they call it sacred geometry. Freemasonry, when it was originally created, they were keeping this a secret. This was highly devout knowledge, sacred geometry. And geometry has all got to do with math, and just this picture alone, our whole mathematical system is also based off of this image. So when the seed of life, you say the seed of life, it's crazy. I don't know how much it actually is the seed of everything. And Tesla said whenever you figure out, when you unlock the keys to 3, 6, and 9, you unlock the keys to the universe. I have no clue what he was talking about, but I know 3, 6, and 9 come from the seed of life, which is the pattern. And so maybe that's what Tesla meant whenever he found out 3, 6, or 9 represented this this pattern. Maybe that's when you start maybe another awakening process just by seeing that pattern alone. Let's find a picture of this. Of course I can get a picture of this.
What, the flower of life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The flower of life, the seed of life. It's got a couple of names. You get so many things from this. You get the Kabbalah, which you see in Hebrew. Isn't that what Hebrew teach from? The Kabbalah?
Yeah, I believe so.
With the circles with the lines is as a part of this image. I don't know much about Hebrew. If anybody knows anything about Hebrew and like to come on the show, then we could do a show about the correlation between sacred geometry and the Kabbalah, and you could teach everybody about what the Hebrew teach, because that'd be cool to know. Everybody should learn about other religions, what they were taught, and learn about. Just gotta have an open mind and connect with other people. The best way to start out is pick that person that is the most different, and go learn about where they come from and all that other good stuff, like I was telling you in the first episode. I got an image for you guys too, who is watching live, if there is any. So seeing numbers means you're going to the next step. Numbers is a glitch in the matrix, and then Neil deGrasse and a lot of other scientists, as in digging deep as possible to what is at the fabric of the universe, they found, binary code. And so starting to see numbers and see that's the way of the universe communicating with you. It doesn't mean we're living in a computer simulation. It's just how man is, how we are designed to create things in the image of creation. We are an image of creation in so many ways. Your iris of your eye looks like a nebula. It's beautiful. They say that nobody's eyes match, and
it's better than a fingerprint.
Yeah, and that your eyes, when you're reincarnated, your eyes don't change. And so when you look somebody in the eyes and you feel like you've known them forever, their body, even their gender, could be different than what you've known them before, but their eyes
for sure
are going to be identical. And so it's kind of that's a little way of letting you know to kind of see things how they really are. When you see that we kind of live in the matrix, and you know, and you learn that you control everything with your thoughts alone, it kind of makes everything simple. Just like computer code is very simple. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. And so seeing numbers and then seeing numbers and then seeing numbers and knowing what they mean is kind of like the system talking with you, or hacking the system, or learning a new way of communicating with your intuition or your higher self. It's a sign to show you that things are not what you thought they were, or not how they seem, that you live in a world that you can't even begin to fathom. This planet Earth has been tampered with, and the design of life and its mathematics. Everything is numbers. And so there's a mathematical pattern to how the planets evolve. There's a mathematic pattern to your birth date and your name. So that would make sense why the planets can tell you about who you are, because the mathematics of your birth date can tell you who you are. And so really the alignment of the planets is just another mathematical sequence of numbers. And frequencies are numbers. And everything's a vibration. It's called synchronicity. That's another thing that numbers show you, that nothing is a coincidence. If you see numbers and you're having a thought in your mind, the thought alone may be the universe's way of telling you something, just by listening, or just the way the universe communicates with you with songs, or when people say something to you. Could, you know, their idea to say that to you could have been you had a thought on your mind, and then they brought it up, or said something about it, or said something to affirm something you were thinking. Just like seeing a number on a mailbox, or a receipt, or a cash register. I mean, numbers all around us today, not just on the clock. When I see numbers, I see them everywhere. It's not just on a clock, it's on a mailbox, somebody's tag. I'm not looking for numbers. I'm just driving down the road, or everyday life, and I'll just glance at something, and I might have looked at my phone to see something, and then the clock's there, and it's like, bam, 11:11, bam, 3:33, bam, 2:22, bam, 4:44, bam, 5:55. 4:44 is a nice number. It's kind of telling you everything is all right, and you're walking down your divine path. You're becoming in sync with things. So 4:44 is a really good affirmation from the universe. 5:55 represents big changes are coming. It's kind of letting you know to get ready for the changes. It doesn't mean that bad things are going to happen. It just means things are going to change a lot. When I started figuring out about numbers and kind of started reading into them and seeing how it was communicating with me, it was amazing what I seen, the things that were going on in my life at the time. After I started seeing 11:11, I started seeing more of 5:55 a lot. And then I might be having a thought about how to change my life and to see my next step, and I turn around and I see 4:44, and that would be telling me that my thoughts were in sync and everything was going to be all right. And if I take the path toward these thoughts, then everything would be all right. The universe will provide for me and my family just by doing that. And so you might have a thought at a time about a change you need to make in your life, and then bam, you'll see 4:44 on a receipt at the store, or on a car tag going down the road, or on the clock. And so the universe was like, bam, whatever you was thinking right there, that's good. Or maybe something might have been bothering you. That 4:44 at that time could have represented that angels or guides or your higher self is with you at the time to make you feel better. And so once you start seeing numbers, you start seeing and feeling a lot of things. And so when I started seeing 555, it was telling me, you know, big things are going to happen. A lot of changes are going to happen. You know, I had a business at one time. It was fun. I learned a lot of lessons. And then I closed that. And a lot of other big changes happened in my life over the past 4 years. 4 or 5 years ago, probably in the beginning when I started seeing 1111. And then after that, I started seeing numbers, and it started telling me a lot of things. And here I am today on this microphone telling you guys about numbers. Oh, me.
Yeah.
Nothing happens on accident. I learned that at a very young age. Everything happens for a reason. One thing I had a problem with religions is they kind of promote the idea that God is just a guy in the sky who knows all and tells all what to do. But that's not, because the one true center of the universe, consciousness of all, the one that surrounds you everywhere, you know, because like I told you, you're looking for that God that you're using the wrong word to call it anyway, when you're looking for source or creative force that is all around you. You are a piece of it. That's what these historical texts told you. You were created in its image. You are a piece of it. You are God. God translates to I am. So I am God. You are God. I say namaste. It says the God within me loves the God within you. And it knows that you're divine and devout, just as I am divine and devout, because we are all a piece of the same creation, and we are all connected down to every person you see, every planet in the solar system, every blade of grass, every leaf on a tree. You are connected to it. And this is what Indians and Native Americans and the people who found enlightenment were teaching, just like it's like Buddha and Jesus and Muhammad and all of them. That's what they were teaching, is that you are connected. You are a piece of divine creation. That is the simplest message that the metaphorics of these religious texts, because they are metaphors. They're not meant to be taken straight up literal. The more we study about the religions and study about how these texts were translated or come about, the more you find out why they're not something to devote your life to as absolute truth. To find truth, you have to go within inside yourself. And when you go inside of yourself, you open your mind to what things really are, and you start to see things in a different light. And when you see things in a different light, your light starts to shine. And when your light starts to shine, light conquers darkness. Numbers are a sign to be attentive that it's a sign. It shows a lot of time that you're ready for the next step in your life. Just like the numbers are telling me that something big was going to happen with the 555, and then it was telling me with the 444 that it's going to be all right, or with the 222, you know, that I'm starting to see things. I'm starting to be more intuitive. That I'm starting to become a master builder of my own reality. Because I'm starting to become one and see, or you're starting to become one and see what things are, or start to see through the matrix. And so that's why everybody are starting to see numbers, because they're starting to awaken. And 1111 is the first one you start to see that makes you question why you're seeing numbers. And once you start to question why you're seeing numbers, it leads you down the long path of starting to question everything. And that's what it's all about. That's what this is what all the philosophers were teaching, was finding out the truth to everything instead of believing what somebody told you, without you open up your mind to other things or other possibilities. Seeing numbers is letting you know that we don't just live a mundane life, and that we just go to work, and that we just go to work, and then we work, and then we die. That's not what we come here for. I know for damn sure that's not what I come here for.
Hey, is anybody watching seeing any numbers? Can't be on them.
I know in certain groups where like-minded people are in, they are all started seeing 1111 and asking about numbers, and they started seeing numbers. Even over the weekend when I told Alex that I was having thoughts, and then I would see people in certain groups ask questions about these same thoughts, or maybe say something that correlated to the same thought I had. It was the same thing with the numbers. I was thinking about doing a show on the numbers, and then I started seeing people ask a whole bunch of questions about 1111 and 222 and 333 and what they meant. And so here we are on January the 11th, which is 111, which represents a new beginning. I have a new beginning with my podcast, with me and Alex, and then here we are on 111 on our third show, which is a nice new number, which means you're hitting the number of illumination or coming into alignment with your path, or maybe you're starting to get to the point to become a teacher or a master teacher. And so there's numbers everywhere, and there's always signs of synchronicity when you start looking at numbers. So it's real exciting to learn things and look at different possibilities of life, and then start seeing the universe or source communicate with you in random ways by what your thoughts are telling you in correlation with numbers you're seeing, or what your intuition is telling you towards other signs that you may be seeing.
Kevin, so he's been listening to the 432 hertz healing frequency, and he's had some crazy lucid dreams. So that's cool. That's something cool to do.
That is awesome. I'm jelly. Me myself, I started learning about numbers and frequencies a long time ago, and more I'll listen to certain frequencies when I go to sleep, and I'll let them play all night real loud. I know I have guys that show up in the morning before I go to work. They've heard them, some crazy sounds just going off in my bedroom, be like wah 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 wah, or some kind of like a binaural beat, or some kind of high pitched frequency, which there's a different type of megahertz that represents different things, just like your different thoughts that you have are putting off a different frequency from your body, and so looking in solfeggio sounds or frequency sounds on YouTube, or binaural beats, that'll teach you techniques, just like meditation. When I recommended meditation to calm your mind and learn how to control yourself, you can also use binaural beats aligned with meditation or sleeping. You can look all this stuff on YouTube, and once everything gets going, I'll have all kinds of resources on the website for you guys to find stuff like that easier. But yeah, you can combine binaural beats or frequencies with your meditation, or just sleeping, playing headphones or on speakers in your bedroom, and by doing that, you're you're affecting your thoughts and your reality. You know, you're helping yourself vibrate higher. And when you sleep, you're in a subconscious state. So I couldn't think of a better time to play those frequencies that you were talking about. And then also in meditation, because you're putting your brain, your antenna, in a certain receptive point. And so the best thing to do is to feed those good inputs in there to it also.
He said he switches all of his music up to 432 hertz. How you do that? Just on a editing program?
That's what I was going to say. I kind of looked into it before, where you can convert your things. You should get on the Facebook page. There's also a little group where everybody can join and post things that they like to share with everybody else, or ideas on the show, or just talk about whatever the heck you guys want to talk about. We'll talk about it with you. But if you don't mind, man, get on, join the little connection thing there, the group with the site, and share your program that you use to convert your music, because I definitely like to try. I've read about it before, but I've never taken the time to actually do it. You know, be it putting the music on my phone, but I like to stream music, but I do have one way that I listen to a card, and so I could convert that music over to the correct frequency. When I told you guys in the first episode where you're being attacked by all fronts to prevent you from vibrating higher, to stop all this from happening right now, the music you hear on the radio, you're being bombarded by frequencies that promote hate and fear. And so I bet you J-Dub could do it. He said J-Dub's watching, man. J-Dub, can you transfer it? Can you transfer our music to the different hertz? Can you do it? But when I'm saying you're being attacked on all fronts, you've been attacked for a long time on all fronts, with the frequencies on the TV and with the frequencies on the radio are playing at a hertz. I think it's 440. Or something like that.
It is 440.
Well, that is
440.
That frequency promotes fear, and that's how everybody's controlled these days. It's by fear. Even religion has been used to control you by fear. Politics uses you to control you by fear. Government uses to control you by fear, which is the same thing. Police control you by fear. The government controls you by fear. Is you're a slave to us, and you give you our money for a piece of paper that's worthless. So you're giving up your life for a piece of paper, and then you got to give them pieces of the paper, or they're going to take everything that you got. And so you have to be scared that you're not going to lose the stuff you wasted your life working for fake paper to get. So it's a little nasty circle of fear, and then they throw fear at you with frequencies and everything else, and they control you with that fear. They used religion for the same thing they used religion against me as a young child. They tried to scare me with burning in hell, thinking I was going to burn in hell, and crying at an altar at 10, 11, 12 years old, crying my heart out, thinking that my parents were going to burn in hell. Little did you guys know, that is fucking hell. And that's what you motherfuckers have promoted. And it's really fucked up. It's fucked up to do that to a kid. And I want all you people who've taught that to really think about how you were really not seeing the fabric of reality, and you were highly confused, and you really manipulated the world that we live in with those types of ideas and belief systems. And I hope that we get away from trying to tell people that they're gonna die and burn in hell, because thinking that this is the only life that you have, and when it's over that you're going to die and burn in hell, That is what hell is, because you control your reality with your thoughts. What you got is this experience right now, and you'll have another one. But hell exists in the mind. Bob Marley said in his song, if you knew what life was worth, you would look for yours on earth. Because now, if you're looking for heaven, it's here. It's not in the sky. And religion teaches that some outside force is going to come out and bring happiness upon you when you die. And then you sold your whole life out because they tell you to put up with the hell that's going on here. In return, that you're going to get some kind of salvation or praise for bearing hell after you die. And then you lost your life. You sold your life out. I'm sorry, that sucks. That was a shitty feeling for me to learn at a young age, probably like 16, 17 years old. Edgar Casey said that revelations in the Bible is a metaphor for what you go through for the path of enlightenment. And Christian religion teaches 7 years of tribulation, 3.5 years of everything hunky-dory or everything okay, or when you're vibrating at the reasoning stage. But something happens after that, and you go through this stage where you start to see all the bad and just throws it up in your face, and all that stuff is literally hell on earth. And it probably lasts a good 3.5 years of every time you turn on the TV to see all this bad stuff, or to fight with your core values, whether you be raised Christian or Hebrew, or to find out that in school you were taught about history, and that was a lie. And then, your parents taught you about the fucking Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, and the preacher taught you about heaven and hell. Then the fucking school taught you all kinds of other bullshit that was all lies. So when you start to see that shit, you will go through freaking 3.5 years of absolute hell. To realize that everything and everybody just fucking lied to your ass.
Yeah.
That's fucking what Revelations in the Bible 100% represents. And if you learn about Edgar Casey, you'll learn about what life is really about. And any Christian people, I can tell you, you are the main people who need to read into Edgar Casey, because he can resonate with how you were taught, and he will suck out all the bad parts of what you were taught. And maybe you were lucky enough and you were Christian, but you wasn't. There's 128 different forms of Christianity, and maybe you weren't in one of those forms that teach hell, fire, brimstone. But in the dirty South, in a Baptist church, that's what they tell anybody and everybody is. If you're not saved by the blood of Jesus Christ, then you will burn and die in hell, which included any Indians or anybody else that didn't know Jesus. And so I was glad that I was taught that. I learned a lot of stuff about Christianity and about the Bible, which is universal to all religions. But to be blatantly manipulated and lied to, and to go through what I did about crying about my parents burning in hell for eternity, because they didn't do what I did, which was go to church all the time and thought I was helping save the world. I wanted to be a fucking preacher. What the fuck? That's how much I cared about that stuff. But then the more I learned, the more I found out that it was a lie, and that sent me on a path at a very young age to seeking the knowledge that I'm telling on you guys today. And I went through exactly what Revelations represents. I went through like 3.5 years of okayness, and then I went through 3.5 years of like literally hell on earth. But there's a lot of other symbology and metaphors in Revelations, like the 7 seals. Represents the 7 chakras of the body. And when you become aligned, and you start taking care of your body and your mind, and you start learning about how to take care of your vehicle, like changing your oil and your windshield wiper and rotating your tires. You learn how to take care of your body, stuff like that. You're going to learn about what chakras are. and they say that Revelations represents the 7 chakras. And then there's a lot of stuff about the 12 tribes, but the more and more me and Alex has kind of thought about where we all come from and where humanity started, it kind of goes back to Africa. And there's a theory that the 12 tribes of Israel are actually
12 tribes of Israel
are African. They're 12 tribes of Africa, and they were Israeli because Babylon, who were the first ones to start conquering Africa back in time. That's what they were.
Yeah. They're at the top of Africa.
Who?
Descended from the 12 sons of the patriarch.
Who's that?
12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah, and so Babylon representing Israel back during Pangea time.
Yeah.
But representing the 12 tribes within Africa would have been, or Egypt would have been conquered by Babylonians, which would represent Israel, and so once they took them over, that would have made them, the 12 tribes, or maybe the 144,000 light workers is supposed to change the world or bring in heaven on earth. A lot say that the 144,000 are light workers, or people that are vibrating higher, that's come to help raise the frequencies at the time, and to help everybody on this path of awakening, and these numbers and this beginning of seeing will start sending you down the path, kind of help you pierce the veil, or see with different sight, open your third eye, your pineal gland, seeing things, not with your cornea or your 3D reality. I don't think the third eye is the correct term. I would like to call it the first eye, and then you have 2 second eyes that you see with. So one represents a new beginning, and 3 represents Trinity. And so if you can see with your 2 eyes, and you can see with your first eye, which is the most important eye there is, because that is your connection with Source, that's your connection with the center of the universe, that's your connection with your intuition and your higher self, it being the first most important sight that you need. You don't need your freaking eyeballs. Ask any blind person. You don't technically need those eyes, but I can guarantee you that you need that first eye, which is your pineal gland, and that's what the Egyptians talked about, and or not talked about, but that's what they tried to pass on to the rest of the world a really, really long time ago, was this first eye, and the art of seeing with this first eye, and seeing numbers. And 1111 is letting you start to see with that first eye, and the more you see with that first eye, the more you get communication with that first eye, and so the more you connect with your intuition, the more you connect with yourself, the more the universe connects with you and communicates with you, and the more that you see, and so maybe the more you tune in with your vibration, and raise your frequency more, the more you're going to feel things around you more, the more empathetic you're going to be, the more sensitive you're going to be to other people's feelings, emotions, and thoughts. Those are all intuition. Those are all your first eye, your pineal gland, or third eye. That's the all-seeing eye. That's what the Masons. That's what Masonry taught, was about this all-seeing eye. And if they were keeping the secrets to sacred geometry, and they were teaching about and trying to show this all-seeing eye, and if it represented your first eye, your intuition, your pineal gland, then the real message the Masons were trying to pass along a long time ago was the art of knowing without knowing, how to connect with yourself, the truth about history, the basics, the fabric of the universe. Just like everything else, it was infiltrated for power and control and manipulated to control you. It sucks, but it's all good now because everybody can see. Everybody's seeing the numbers. Everybody's seeing the truth for how things really are. And that's how light always wins, is by bringing the truth up and shining light on darkness. And so it's all great and good things to be happy about. Don't be scared of the numbers. Just try to connect with your intuition more, and maybe you'll get more connection with your intuition, and you'll start seeing numbers, or seeing through the matrix, or communicating with your higher self, or source, or creative force. The more you come in sync with the universe, the more you're going to see the numbers. The more you're being shown that things are coming together. Everything is in divine order. To me, numbers fast track me to seeing a message in synchronicity. It's crazy. Sometimes I think something and bam, I get it. Like the more you start seeing synchronicity, you're like, I want strawberries. The next thing you know, everybody's trying to give you freaking strawberries. You never even asked anybody for strawberries. You just thought about freaking strawberries. That's how fucking crazy it is. That's how much you control reality with your thoughts alone. And the more you realize that you are God and you control your day-to-day reality, the more you become in sync, and the more you start to feel at peace, and the more that you vibrate higher on that grid, and the more that you help everybody in the world. So you got to take care of yourself. Try to see things for what they are. Try to love everybody. Try to vibrate that love. There's a lady, I'll share a video. She teaches a seminar with that same graph. She makes a lot of money just by going around and telling people kind of the similar things that I told you the other night on the show. And the things she sells is knowledge and information. I'm not selling you shit. This stuff is free. This is things I've learned myself. It sits right with my soul, and that's why me, a quiet guy that never talked to anybody for freaking ever. I was just, even in a big crowd, I was a guy in the corner that's quiet. That's why you got me up here on this freaking camera telling you all this freaking shit for hours at a time. Is because of these things. The less you want to know more, the more the universe gives you. And that's what 1111 and all these numbers are telling you. Synchronicity, and starting to see and communicate with the universe. It's where your dominant thoughts align with your life. And whenever your thoughts align with your life and become your dominant experience happening, and synchronicity is when your dominant thoughts align with your life, and it becomes your dominant experience happening at the same time, and that is called instant manifestation, is what that's called. And so all the yogis and all the people who were here in the past, who had the art of knowing without knowing, the ones that had the clear connection with their first eye, and we're trying to spread a message that kind of got messed up through history. They were very in tune, and synchronicity happened instantly. And they knew these secrets, and they tried to leave a message to you. It just kind of got messed up by people that were trying to control you throughout history. The great thing is they've already lost. They did a great job trying to stop things from happening the way they are happening now. But light always wins over darkness. That was the thing all these old texts were trying to teach you was ain't shit to be scared of. You're being controlled by fear alone. Fear is fake. Fear is not part of the matrix. It is the tiny little key that keeps you in the matrix, is fear. And so as soon as you release fear, you'll start to live outside of the matrix, and you'll leave the matrix. Once you let go of fear, you can be free and happy, and you really start to see a lot of things. And as soon as you realize that nothing bad happens to you when you die, and there ain't nothing to be scared of, and there ain't nothing that anybody can do to you, you get to live free. True freedom, true happiness. That's all anybody wants in life. So go out there and find your true freedom and your true happiness. Love your neighbors, connect with everybody, realize we're in this shit together.
We might stream maybe like once or twice a week, Kevin. But if y'all want to come on, you can come on the show too.
Yeah, when I started this, I definitely was intending for guests.
And we got 3 microphones too.
Yeah, I'm prepared for 3 people. I can hook up. We can get guests on here with Skype. I can figure that out. It wouldn't take too long.
I already got one guest lined up, but Kevin, you could come on too, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know where the show is going. Like I said, it wasn't quite my idea. A lot of things synchronized with me paying attention to numbers and trying to be one with myself that made this happen. And the intention is to have guests and talk about all kinds of things, but I felt like the time to talk was at a certain time, and I pulled the trigger, and here we're on episode number 3. We don't know how many we're going to do. Maybe we'll do more frequently and shorter. I don't know.
Yeah.
We definitely want guests. Anybody that wants to be a guest on the show, please get on the Facebook, join in on the group or whatever, post your thoughts and opinions about what we talk about. Try to feed us more content. I love to learn new things, leave some content on for us things, maybe showing other people about what you know about what we were talking about.
Maybe we can make it where someone can call in too.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
You can do that with Skype too. Yeah. For guys that don't want to be on camera,
you can just talk.
We can do. We can do it just talk. If you guys want. Hell, we can, like, one night a week, we can just do call-ins where people call and ask a question, and we chit-chat about it, you know. Yeah. This whole thing, higher frequencies, and this whole idea was to connect with people, to get my thoughts out on how I seen how everybody needed to be connected.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
Yeah, that's word up, bro.
Yeah.
We're just wanting to connect with everybody. I know if I got on here and started talking, I could at least get a few people talking about something or thinking about something. All it took was one person. All I was looking for. I did all this. Just one person started to think and question and see reality and seek truth for themselves. Then it was 100% mission accomplished. And so I quit doing this today, knowing that it made one person try to find themselves, or try to exit the matrix, or try to better their life, because like I said, you change yourself and you'll change the world, and it's that simple. Everybody is an influence, and all it takes is just that simple thought of knowing that you can change the world with yourself alone. You're way more powerful than you ever known. As soon as you start looking into numerology and stuff like that, the sooner you start to see you're way more powerful than you ever thought, and that you were ever taught. Anybody else got any more questions? How much time are we at? I don't know how long we've been going.
About an hour or something.
Anybody got any questions?
You said
hour and 10 minutes.
Do you meditate on 11/11?
Do or did I?
Do you?
No, I don't typically meditate at any certain time. Edgar Casey teaches that 2 o'clock in the morning is the best time to meditate. I'm a night owl. I can't go to sleep early, so most of the time I'm up at like 1 or 2. I usually try to meditate before I go to bed. I don't meditate every day or like I should or anything else like that. I just used to at one point when I was younger, and I'm trying to practice things like that to control my mind, so I can control my thoughts, and I can control my thoughts, I control my reality, and I can help everybody else by doing that. And so that's kind of why I've been pushing back towards trying to meditate and stuff. But I usually do it before bed around 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I imagine if you do meditate at 11/11, it'd be quite powerful.
Around like a full moon.
Here, I got an image I want to throw up real quick with 11/11. Because if you look online, you're going to see a lot of mixed message about 11/11. There's so many people that's seen it, so people all have their own interpretation of what 11/11 means to them. And all I did was look it up myself and then look within myself to tell you how I felt about 11/11. So it's really what it means to you. But there's kind of a consensus here that I'm going to try to get up for you guys. Any more questions?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna share this image and I'll share it out loud. I'll read it out loud, and if we don't have any questions, we'll probably go ahead and wrap up the show for tonight. So this here is a little image from N5D. Like I said, I'll get some recommended links on material and things to read up on, and I'll put N5D on there because they're great. This is an image from them. You guys need to check them out. But when everybody sees 11/11, the most simplest thing everybody says is make a wish, and that's right, because everything is in alignment whenever you're seeing 11/11. So it's the most perfect time to make a wish. So just everybody knowing without knowing, just at the simplest form to tell you to make a wish at 11/11 is a great thing to tell people.
They said avoid meditation during the full moon.
Why's that?
11/11
is a sign of balance. It's a sign of synchronicity. The number 11 is a master number in numerology. So seeing it twice, which is crazy that it looks like a gate, and it opens the gate to the path of trying to figure out why you're seeing the number, which leads down another path of why you exist. 11/11 represents synchronicity. Your life has become total balance, and the lessons you need to learn will appear before you. When the pupil is ready, the master appears. When you see 11/11, you feel connected with the universe and everyone else who is currently experiencing this phenomena at the same time. Like the consciousness grid. 11/11 is like the universe letting you know that you're connected to everybody and that there's a consciousness grid. And then when you look at the fabric of life, you realize that everything's connected and that your thoughts affect everybody. And that your thoughts all go back to source, which is the one supreme creative force. It's what surrounds you everywhere. It's the center of the universe that has experienced every life that's ever existed on any existence in any universe. 11/11 could be letting you know a spirit guide or guardian angel could be trying to contact you, like through your intuition, tell you something, like the art of knowing without knowing. 1111, you can kind of look at maybe what was on your mind at the time. From a historic standpoint, 1111 appears to be something that is genetically coded with our junk DNA, and as a cue to spiritually awaken. So if the fabric of the universe is binary code, like Neil deGrasse and a couple other scientists have come to find out that the very basics of universe is numbers, and if you've seen 1111, it's very well that it could be a binary code to your brain, to make a cue in your DNA to question what reality really is, so you can start the path of what you should actually know. It's kind of the universe, the way showing you, hey, the Earth ended in 2012. How you thought the Earth was, that shit died. Hey, look at this number. Hey, DNA, wake up. It's time to go out and find out what you really need to know and find out how things really are. And then once you do that, you start to change, connect with everybody like I'm talking about, and then it changes the world. Like I said, there can't nobody stop what's going on right now. You can see it every way, and it's as simple as just seeing fucking numbers. And then it gets way more freaking complex and complicated way past that, but it is just as simple as seeing fucking numbers. 1111 may be seen as code to unlock your subconscious mind. 1111, it could represent two doorways between two worlds. Represent the shift between the third dimension and the fifth dimension, which is what the shift is supposed to represent. It's what 2012 is supposed to represent. It's what Christ consciousness is like. Christ consciousness is being connected to the consciousness grid that I was talking about, where all our thoughts go. Christ consciousness is a point in time where all man will have that connection with their intuition that is so fluent to the grid and everybody else's thought, that we will have heaven on earth, and we'll have heaven on earth because we'll be at one with nature, we'll be at one with God, and we'll be at one with each other. Why do you think he's seeing all the freaking ones? It all goes back to fucking one. To one. Goes back to one. Alex has a good correlation with that phrase there.
What?
It all goes back to one.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. You got any fucking questions?
I don't know. I can't tell how to read these comments, man. They're like coming in like at weird. They're like not. They're not like. The new ones ain't like at the top or nothing.
We'll chill for a minute and see if anybody's got any questions.
He said something about how did it come to you.
If you guys got a question, why don't you just instant message Alex or instant message the group and not technically use the Facebook chat, because it may not be sequencing fast enough for all this jazz, because you guys are probably at least what you think, 30 second delay?
Yeah, it's a bad delay.
Probably 10 or 30 seconds from what we're sending out to what's coming in. I just got the cheapest internet I can get. Maybe one day I'll have faster speeds and I'll know more about this, so we can do a lot cooler things. But I'll definitely look into some calls. We'll set up a call night one night, but we'll at least need a couple callers. So if you want to call in, or if you want to go on Skype, just let us know.
We'll get Kevin to call in, man. Kevin, that's my homeboy, man.
Call in, Skype in, whatever.
He said he found a song even written in the Fibonacci code.
A song written in the Fibonacci code? Everything's representing 3, 6, and 9s or something?
Something like that.
Oh, that's pretty sweet, dude. If you know some stuff, I know very little about it. I just know it correlates with sacred geometry, and I know a little bit about sacred geometry and the fabric of the universe being from this pattern, and mathematics also being from this pattern. That could have been what Tesla meant by knowing 369 unlocks the keys to the fabric of the universe. Well, considering 369 come from that pattern creates everything. Kind of correlates, makes sense maybe. But I'd love to have you on to tell us what you know about the Fibonacci code or 369.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I need to look into it myself.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Any more questions?
If you have any questions, if you have any ideas, just send them my way. Or anything like that.
Pretty sure I went over all my little notes here. I was really upset about forgetting on how to raise your vibration with freaking music. I'm gonna have to do. Me and Alex can do a little thing. 10-15 minute long separate video called easiest way to vibrate at higher frequencies, and we'll do a little skit, and it'll just be about how to use music and stuff, the most simplest things to vibrate higher, and music being the main one. And so since it's so important, we'll just do a little 10-15 minute thing about the easiest way to vibrate higher. That'd be a good way to fix the little boo-boo of forgetting to tell you guys on that episode. That's how important it is.
Hell yeah.
Well, guys, it's 20 after 9. We gotta go work in the rain in the morning. It's still gonna be awesome. We'll be out in the woods. We'll be out there with Mother Nature vibrating at that frequency that you was talking about. So we can't help but to vibrate at that same frequency because we're out there. And when you go out in nature, it's going to help you vibrate higher, which will also be on the easiest ways on how to vibrate at higher frequencies. And since that's what the show is all about, we'll make a little emphasis on the easiest way to vibrate higher, to extend a little piece and simplify episode number 2 of higher frequencies.
Peace out.
Peace, love, and namaste, guys. Get connected with us. Come check us out on the Facebook. Facebook.com Higher Frequencies NC. You'll catch us on Facebook. You can get on there. You can join the connection group. Leave all you, or do it on the group site. Either way, leave your comments, thoughts, material that you like, material you'd like for us to see. We're going to do the same thing for you guys, because the new age and the new way of changing life is connecting, and so that's what we're all doing, guys. We're gonna show all these old people around here on how to change the world by connecting with one another. With this thing they made fun of, the internet. They didn't know about how things were changing and the tools that we were going to need to change things, and that's what the internet is one of the best tools that we ever invented for ourselves. It's something that didn't come from it was meant to be here at this time. So peace, love, and namaste, guys. Have a good one.